Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Pop Punk Podcast with me, T Will Official, and my G-ass co-host, Mr. Daddy Mush, is back after being gone for a week. Say what's up, sir.
What's up, everybody? Good to be back. My apologies for being a little AWOL last week. I had some personal things to attend to, but glad to be back. How is everything?
Everything is going fantastic. Yeah, me and Keen just pretty much took the reins last week. I upgraded Keen to temporary co-host, and the show went well last week without you. We definitely missed you. Definitely wasn't the same without you, but it still went well, I would say.
Oh, that's great to hear.
That's really great. Yeah, so this week we're doing something a little bit different, okay? Something we've been talking about doing for a little bit, but we just never got around to. But today we're going to be, because we have a new pop punk release by someone that you wouldn't expect. We have a new pop punk release by the man, the myth, the legend, Machine Gun Kelly just dropped a new album last week. It's called Tickets to My Downfall. And it's we're just gonna go through track by track, pick out the songs we like, the songs we don't like, talk about why we like them, why we don't like them. But before we do any of that, you already know, and we got a little bit of catching up to do because you weren't on the show last week. What have you been listening to this week, sir?
Well, I mean, mostly same old, same old. My car, I've been listening to mostly Census Fails, Let It Unfold You, and Keepsakes, The End of Sound. And on Spotify, my most recently played is Just Surrender, Man Overboard, Chunk No Captain Chunk, Crosstown Rivalry, and just, more just of the usual stuff. And, of course, the man we're going to be discussing today, MGK.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, I've been listening to a little bit of MGK as well, just trying to make sure. Because, I did something that I haven't done in a while, mainly to prep for today, but just in general, is I listened to the album start to finish, track 1 to track, I think, 16 or something. I haven't done that since probably before Spotify, honestly, like, before I got my, Spotify Premium. But I did with MGK's album, I listened track 1 all the way to the final track. On my end, I've been listening to a lot of Atreyu.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we actually, that's another, current event we got going on. I know I talked about a little bit last week, but last week they were just rumors. Today we have confirmation. I also wanted to talk a little bit about it with you, Ed, try and get, your perspective on it. So, last week there was rumors that Alex, their main vocalist, and, their screamer, there was rumors that he was leaving the band, and he, denied it. He called it fake news. He said, that ain't, it ain't real. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet. But then, I think it was either yesterday or the day before, they put out a, they put out a statement on their Twitter talking about how Alex, their lead singer, has officially parted ways with the band. Is everything good over there?
Yeah, sorry, my headset was jacking up. But continue.
Anyway, yeah, so they officially put out a statement either yesterday or the day before talking about how he has officially parted ways and how it was an amicable split and they wish him the best in his journeys and shit. So we have official I said combination. We have official confirmation that their main vocalist has left the band, and I kind of feeling a little upset about that because his screaming wasn't the best. I don't hate it. I know it's very polarizing, but I know his screaming wasn't the best, but I felt like he was a big part of the sound that they had, which, as I said last week, they're my favorite, I guess, metalcore band. And the reason I say that is because, to me, they're not exactly metalcore. They get lumped in because they have the whole screamed versus clean choruses, vocal structure. And they have breakdowns every once in a while. But as far as music goes, they have a little bit more of an emo edge. As I was showing you yesterday, that song, The Crimson, is just You take out the screaming and you just replace it with clean vocals, and it could pass as a Hawthorne song.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe as well.
And yeah, I feel like he was definitely like a big part of that, where with the sound that they had. So him parting ways is definitely a little upsetting, but I think I can also kind of understand it because I've talked a little bit about post reunion Atreyu and how their new stuff just isn't as good because they kind of like lost their emo edge when they came back. Like their first post reunion album was just straight up like metalcore. Like I enjoyed it because I do enjoy metalcore. Definitely not as much as like emo and pop punk and post hardcore and everything, but I do enjoy metalcore a little bit. So I did enjoy it. It definitely wasn't on the same level as their pre breakup stuff. But their latest album, the one that came out in 2018, is just kind of like standard John Feldman rock. And it really, in my opinion, it wasn't that great because it kind of seemed like they were taking that generic like metalcore band that wants to do a more mature sound, but it just kind of ends up being like watered down radio rock type dealy, and it wasn't that great. So maybe it's possible that he left because he didn't like the direction that they were going in. So I don't know, but yeah, so it's kind of upsetting to me that he left because if he did leave, I have a feeling that they might go more in that direction. That kind of makes me upset because pre-breakup Atreyu was something special. It was something very special, and I mean, I hope like whatever he does next, I hope it's good. I'm gonna give a little hot take. If they replace him with somebody, like if their drummer doesn't just take singing duties completely, because he was their clean vocalist on the all like pretty much all their stuff, and then even when they kind of tried doing rock a little bit, they just did like a two singer thing where like Alex would do like the verses, and then Brandon would do like the choruses. So if he doesn't just take over full singing duties, my hot take, they should replace him with like an emo guy instead of like a metal guy. Because as I said before, like their stuff is already pretty emo. Like you take anything off of the Curse, and it could pass for like Senses Fail, or like Hawthorne, or like any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's the vibe I definitely got from the Atreyu. It seems like it's, at least the stuff you're showing me, it seems like it's a combination of Let It Unfold You Senses Fail mixed with their metalcore phase. That's definitely the vibe I got from Atreyu, so could work out from your.
That's my hot take. Maybe they instead of looking for like metal singers to replace them, they should look for some like like post-hardcore like emo type guys. Maybe get the singer from Senses Fail or like the singer from Hawthorne or something. I mean Hawthorne's kind of unfortunately fade into obscurity a little bit, so I gotta imagine that their lead singer's probably not doing much.
Yeah, JT Woodworth.
Yeah, so like that's my hot take, and then maybe you could kind of keep doing what they were doing with the whole two singers thing. Like maybe Brandon, their drummer, could still do the choruses and shit, but then during the verses it would be just either whoever they replace them with can just do the singing. Because I will say I did actually really like the direction that their third album was going. That was the album with the infamous X's and O's. Memes aside, I did like the direction it was going. It was going kind of in like a ball emo, like kind of swerve. And I mean, there was still heavy songs on it, but like the lighter songs were definitely kind of going in a more like, I guess like a MCR-ish, like Senses Fail type route. And I would have liked that, but then they kind of just did a 180, and then their fourth album was kind of like a weird like blend of rock and post-hardcore, and it wasn't all terrible, but some of it kind of wasn't that great. And then their fifth album tried to be like a mix of the third and fourth album, and then they broke up and then got back together, and then you know my opinions on their post-reunion stuff.
Yeah, oh, actually, fun fact, their fourth album was actually produced by Mr. Feldman as well.
Yeah, I knew that, and I was kind of shocked because it's just weird how there's like pre-Blink Feldman and post-Blink Feldman, and they're like two completely different John Feldmans.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty insane.
Pre-Blink Feldman was like like the old Mest albums, Atreyu. He did that one Escape the Fate album. which was actually, like I said, it's probably the only release without Ronnie that I enjoyed. That was a John Feldman album. But then, you have post Blink, and that's obviously the Blink albums. Goldfinger's Own, which is just, California Leftovers is what it sounds like to me. Like 5 Seconds of Summer. And I enjoy the Feldman era of 5 Seconds of Summer. But it just definitely has that like same sound. Like you can tell. You can tell when it's a Feldman production. At least after Blink. Before Blink, like I say, he kind of was a little more diverse with his sound. Not the dog on Feldman at all, though. Like I said, that's just a man trying to chase his bag, and I respect it.
Yes, I mean we had a whole spiel of Mr. Feldman. So
Yeah, I just always got to throw that disclaimer out there because he's a complicated deal. I have some negative things to say about him, but also some positive things to say about him. So it's just very complicated. So I always got to throw that little disclaimer in there. Like I don't hate on him. That's a man trying to chase his bag. I hate on the bands that like get him for their music, but at the same time I don't hate because I feel like if I was in their shoes I would have done the same thing because that man is gonna get you some hits.
yes, he is. It's definitely from a business sense and from a person who wants to eat, I can respect it. But as a fan of music, I dislike it. I guess that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, but even as a music fan, I still, I hate the game, not the player. I don't hate on him. I just hate on the bands that are like, you know what? Let's get that generic sound going.
Yes, and it all has the same key and the same tone and the same everything.
And it is produced very well. It's produced incredibly well. He's a very good producer. It's just the the hands-on producer part that kind of gets me.
Mm-hmm. It's a factory. It's a factory nonetheless.
Yes. So yeah, so to recap my on repeat, it's my top 5 is Forget Me Too by MGK, which we're gonna go a little more in depth into that song in a little bit because we haven't even started the album review part of the podcast. The Crimson by Atreyu. To Be Young by Blessed by a Broken Heart, which is a little bit of a weird one because I feel like I haven't listened to that song in a while. But hey, the on repeat doesn't lie. It's behind a little bit, but it doesn't lie. Awkward Conversations by 5 Year Plan Still, which again is a little weird because I feel like I haven't listened to that song that much this week. But again, that's what the on repeat says. And then Concert for Aliens finishes out the top 5. And then if we're turning it into a top 7, there's also Right Side of the Bed by Atreyu and Greg's Last Day by The Starting Line.
Well, that's an all-time.
Yes, it is.
And another, I guess, just to kind of round out kind of a current events for the genre too. Justin Jake announced they're releasing a new album in December 11th called Silver Linings, which is their first full in over 7 years, and they released a new song today.
Oh, very nice. I'm gonna have to peep that because Ska's one of those genres where it's like I don't dislike ska. I do enjoy ska, but it's all very samey to me, so I don't listen to too much of it. But I like Less Than Jake because they do something kind of different. That like their ska isn't like the same ska you hear anywhere else. Like their ska is really more like pop punk with horns, and I enjoy that. So I'm very excited to hear their new song. Their EP from a couple years ago I thought was really good. Bomb Drop is probably one of my all-time favorite Less Than Jake songs. So I'm really excited to hear some new stuff by them.
Yeah, so just a little current event. I decided to kind of throw that little bombshell out because I saw it pop up notifications earlier in the day, and I forgot to mention it earlier.
Well, hey, dude, maybe when December hits, we'll do another album review for the Less Than Jake stuff.
Yeah, it's called Silver Linings, December 11th, via Pure Noise Records, which, little off topic, Pure Noise Records seems to kind of be the new label that all the kind of I don't know if that's me, but all the bands that were bigger in the past kind of flock to nowadays.
Yeah, that makes sense. Isn't that also 4 Year Strong's label?
Yeah, 4 Years Strong, Hit the Lights, and other up and coming bands were all on Pure Noise, such as like State Champs and The Story So Far. a bunch of other bands were on Pure Noise as well, like Handguns as well. But
it's just it was so weird because I remember that's when I first started getting into 4 Years Strong was they were playing with Less Than Jake, and that was like the weirdest show of all time because I just feel like they don't really match too well. But after finding out that they were on the same label, like it makes sense.
yeah, because I mean that's the same reason why the November and Alistair all toured together back in the Drive-Thru days, just because labels.
Exactly. And yeah, so I didn't know about that Less Than Jake album. I'm gonna have to check that out because I am a huge Less Than Jake fan. All right, now that I guess we go ahead. I'm sorry, dude. You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, same. I mean, some technical difficulty, so I would like to apologize deeply about that.
Okay, just pointing it out.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna just say the same thing you were saying. I said so to the meat of the program, MGK.
Yes. So this is definitely a segment I want to turn into like a semi-regular thing. At the very least, when when new albums come out, we can kind of go through and like review them like track by track. This is actually something on this channel. If you're watching on YouTube, on this channel, I used to do a little bit ago. I did videos, and they would be like I would like edit them together and everything. Where I would just take an album, I go through it like track by track by track, say like what I liked about it, say what I didn't like about it. I never made it past episode 3 though, but it's kind of like a semi-revival right here, right now. So, and it's a not only is it a semi-revival, it's like a special edition because now we got Ed here too. We can both kind of bounce off each other and talk about what we like and don't like on these songs. So the very first album for this little semi-podcast revival of the Is It Good album review series. We're gonna start for copyright reasons. We're not gonna be playing these songs, but I'm gonna assume like 99% of the albums that we go through on this podcast and like review, I'm 99% certain they're gonna be on Spotify in some fashion. And if they're not on Spotify, then I'm 100% sure it'll be on YouTube somewhere. I know in Mgk's case, this album is definitely on Spotify. So if you want to listen to the song as we're reviewing it, then just pop up a Spotify playlist and then kind of have that playing while we talk. So so for those who don't know, let's just give a little background on the album. The album is called Tickets to My Downfall. Obviously by Machine Gun Kelly, or MGK as I'm going to probably refer to him for the entire podcast, just to make things a little more simpler, a little less syllables. It came out on Friday, September 25th, and it was pretty different than his usual stuff. For those that don't know, MGK is a rapper first and foremost, and like that was like his forte. I remember thinking it was kind of weird when he said he was switching over to pop punk because he was like I remember my first exposure to MGK was a song he did with DMX. So it's not even like he was in the alternative rap scene, you know? Like he was just a hip hop artist. So it kind of came out of left field for me. And I don't want to say I wasn't a fan before, because like I heard a few songs here and there from him that I definitely overall enjoyed. But he was kind of like under the radar for me for like so many years. And then when I heard his first pop punk song, I was like, yo, that's actually not that bad. And then I kind of like started following the album kind of closely just because, as I said, way back in episode 1, whether it's good or not, if it made some waves, that could be very, very helpful to the scene. So I kind of followed it a little closely. Like every time we put out a new single, I was listening to it. As you know, on the podcast, we have done extensive coverage on his pop punk journey. And yeah, I think that does it for the background. So I guess we can just hop on in. The first song of the album is, I think it's just called title track. Like it's not called Tickets to My Downfall, but it's just called title track. But he does say Tickets to My Downfall in the song. Ed, would you like to take the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I like the song. It's very quick. It's definitely one of the more of the punkier songs on the album. I definitely think it's It's fast, it's quick. I enjoy the kind of the intro to the song where it's just all slow and everything and kind of quote unquote emotional, I guess. What I mean, or sad, and then it just kicks into this fast, upbeat, kind of angsty, angry, kind of in your face, spiteful lyrics. And it's a kind of sets the rest of the theme for the album, I would say. So it's like the perfect opener in that regard. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's definitely a top 3 track on the album in general.
Yeah, I think I would agree with most of that. I definitely, when I heard it, I was like, I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, that's definitely like that's some like good pop punk. I will say before all this, like when I just heard that he was putting out a pop punk album, I was definitely nervous. I thought it was gonna sound kind of like watered down. Either it was gonna just kind of sound like emo rap, or it was gonna kind of sound like new school era Blink, where like I respect it because I respect like he's trying to bring the scene back, but at the same time, like I'm not a big fan of new school era Blink. So like the songs would just kind of remind me of that, would just kind of make me upset. But when I heard title track, not even called Tickets to My Downfall, just when I heard title track, I was thinking like, yo, this is pretty solid. I like it. I really like the chorus. If I had to nitpick a little bit, like it's really not a super huge issue, but just for the sake of the review, just a little nitpick. Not a fan of the little like yeah in the verses, and I'm not really a big fan of the guitar tone on the song. I think it feels a little too clean for my taste. But again, it's not like a super huge deal to me. I can still listen to the song and be fine. Just for the sake of the review, just kind of throwing it in there. It's a little nitpick that I had.
Definitely my biggest problem is just that, yeah, it just sounds like kind of like over the top, I guess one could say.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about that either. It reminds me of like I don't even know like what it reminds me of, but like yeah, I don't think that sounds very good. But I still, it's not a big deal. I still overall really like the song. I really like the chorus.
Yeah,
And I like how he's not afraid to like get in there and just really get like pop punk with it. Like what Lit did with country, how they just went balls deep into the country. That's what MGK did with the pop punk. But I actually really like this album. So yeah, so I guess that concludes title track. Unless you have anything else you want to say.
no, I mean it's a pretty straightforward pop punk, bit pop punk. It's fast. Lyrics are spiteful. It's angsty. It's
Which
pretty standard. It really sets the tone for the rest of the album, and I like it.
all right, cool. Moving on to the next song, Kiss Kiss. I enjoy this song. This one kind of like it kind of gets lost in the memory banks for me a little bit because I feel like I don't really listen to it too much. The only times I think I've really listened to it so far was when I went through like the whole album to listen to it to get ready for the review today. He did apparently just drop a music video for this song today. If you're watching this live on stream, if you're watching this on YouTube, the music video has already been out for a few days. I haven't seen the music video yet. I remember thinking like my first impression when I heard it was thinking it was pretty good, but honestly, I can't really remember too much from this song. So if you want to take the floor now, Ed.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because I listen to most of my music when I'm at work, so I'm just kind of chilling, and it's definitely one of my more forgettable songs, but it's definitely not a bad song to me. It reminds me of it's a very decent song. I mean, like I said, it
Yeah,
kind of forgettable to me because I kind of skip over it, to be honest with you, if I'm just kind of browsing through the album altogether.
yeah, it's definitely a solid 6 out of 10, I would say. Where it's not bad, but it's definitely not an 8 out of 10 or even like a 7 out of 10.
Yes, it's definitely one of the more forgettable tracks on this where I can't even say much about it because it's not bad, but it's good though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely. I don't think there's really any song on this album I would actually say is bad. There's definitely some songs that I think are kind of forgettable, and some songs that I'm probably not going to listen to. unless I'm listening to the whole album. And there's probably even some songs I would skip if I'm listening to the whole album. But I don't think there's a single song off this album I would say I dislike.
Yeah, that's the problem with this album in whole for me, is that I like the songs, but I think a lot of them kind of blend in together per se. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
I know what you're saying.
especially when I'm driving a bus in North Jersey and I'm blasting this when I'm not supposed to be, so yeah,
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a good song though. I mean, I like it a lot. I like a decent, catchy chorus.
Yeah, I do remember liking the guitar. I remember thinking it didn't sound very pop punky to me, that like little opening guitar. But I still thought it sounded catchy in its own little way.
Yeah, it has a bit more of a rock flair to it, I must say. That's one of the things I did not like about it. It has a bit more rocky per se.
Yeah, like that. But I mean, I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it overall. I do think it's catchy, even if it is a little rockish. And spoiler alert, aside from like hair metal, I don't really like rock music.
I love rock too.
But
What the heck?
but yeah, so that's I guess that's, unless you have anything else you want to say on Kiss Kiss. I guess that's a no.
Yes, I feel you. My bad. I had another issue with my technology. My bad.
Alright, so then yeah, moving on to track 3, Drunk Face. I remember you were telling me a little bit about this song yesterday, so why don't you start out on this one?
Yeah, Drunk Face is definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely one of my favorite songs on the album. It's not my top 3 favorite, but it's definitely I think definitely top 5 for me. And I feel like this song has a little bit of a it doesn't fulfill its potential it doesn't fulfill its potential, because when you listen to the chorus, I feel like the chorus should be bigger. It should be huger. It should be more distorted guitars. It should be faster. But it just seems like it's kind of more boringish to say. But the vocal melody is extremely catchy. But I feel like this song could have been top 3 category if the chorus had a bit more punch to it.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree to that. I do like at the beginning, I do like the kind of like hip hop beat that starts out before it just kind of turns into like Travis's drumming. I thought that was kind of cool. Because I enjoy like, since it is for all intents and purposes a pop punk album, I just enjoy seeing like pop punk try out new things. And that little hip hop beat at the beginning was I enjoyed it before it kicked in. And I think I share your sentiment on the chorus. I definitely agree that it's catchy. Yeah, some more distorted guitar. I can't fucking talk today. Some more distorted guitars would be nice. I definitely agree with that, though.
But I feel like it's a little bit background on the songwriting. Just kind of, it makes sense why it wasn't as guitar-y, because one of the co-writers on the album was a producer for a lot of Juice WRLD songs, such as Lucid Dreams as his most famous.
Oh, yeah, Nick Mira. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, so it makes sense why it has a little bit of that hip-hop-y kind of emo rap flavor to it, considering one of, I guess, the minds behind Mr. Juice was behind it.
Yeah, and Juice WRLD is definitely one of my favorite emo rap artists. I'll say that right now. So I guess that would also explain why, despite the fact that it could have been a little bit better, that also explain why I think I like it a lot.
Yeah, so everything makes a lot of sense when you look at the background to things.
Yeah, it makes sense. I also see, apparently, Travis Barker like wrote all these songs too. Well, co-wrote.
Yeah, he's definitely the most prevalent co-writer. He's doing his best Feldman impression on this album. But to be fair, I mean, I kind of like this better than anything post Tom DeLonge Blink. So
definitely too, yeah. And I think a big part of that is it just feels more genuine. Like, even though it's completely different for MGK, it still feels like something he would do, you know, like without trying to like just go gotta eat and like, you know, just put out like a pop album pretty much. Like, you could tell, like, he really liked this shit when he was growing up, so he just wanted to make an album that's like reminiscent of the type of music that he really liked.
And it definitely sounds like he wants to do this. Like this was just something that he wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to go gotta eat like when you go to a less successful genre than the one you're currently in. So if anything, yeah, it's his experimental era.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of over the whole kind of big picture thing, which is I'm better at big picture stuff than micro stuff 'cause I have a hard time concentrating. But like, this is definitely the best transition in recent memory that I can think of a major genre switch. Like Vanilla Ice failed, Lil Wayne failed, but MGK. I mean, I'm not really a hip hop guy, so I'm a little bit biased, but I definitely think this is his best work so far he put out. So good for him.
Yeah, I can't talk about that because like the only other MGK songs I know, Princess is knocking shit over. The only other MGK songs I know are his features on a DMX song and on a Motley Crue song. When the Motley Crue song was to promote The Dirt, which he also starred in.
No, how about that? But
He was Tommy Lee in the movie.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah. I was reading that as well. So yeah, Drunk Face, good song. I feel like it could have been better, but it definitely has a good emo rap vibe to it because one of the people who wrote and produced it was the guy who worked with Juice WRLD a lot. So makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, makes total sense. Makes complete sense.
Next track, Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, so Bloody Valentine. I got a lot to say on this one. I'm going to let Princess out real quick. So if you want to say any opening lines, go for it.
Well, I mean, just to kind of a little bit of background that it seems like Bloody Valentine was one of like the first it was one of the first things we ever talked about on this podcast just because and it been brought up a lot because we were talking about on the first podcast about MGK potentially revitalizing the scene, and we also talked about it because it was also on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. So this song is definitely one of the more safer albums because it's a straightforward pop punk, but it has more of a kind of moderny Blink-182 vibe to it. And
yes,
it's an
exactly.
song. It's definitely one of the more better songs in the album, in my opinion, just because it is a pop punk song to the core of it. But it's definitely not my favorite on it. So how about you, T, Will?
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I when I first heard it, like I loved it. I loved it because I was completely shocked at like I was like, dude, this actually sounds like pop punk. Cause like you were saying earlier, usually when somebody does a major genre shift, it either doesn't sound enough like the genre they're trying to switch to, like it sounds very watered down, or it's just not good. So I was like obsessed with the song when it first came out because it's very clearly a pop punk song, and it's still good. Like I have my opinions on it that I'm gonna say like in a couple sentences, but like when I first heard it, like I was like, dude, this is fucking good. When he came out with his next couple singles, I look back on it thinking like it does sound a little too modern Blinky for my taste. And for that, it's definitely probably one of my lesser favorite of the hits, I would say. Hits being like the singles that he released beforehand. But despite that, like it's still a really good fucking song. And it's just crazy to see like this is the same MGK that did a fucking feature on a DMX song. And I was just completely shocked. And yeah, so like it's also kind of funny because I guess it really just depends. Like I guess that's just where the more genuine and the genuinality of it comes in. That's probably not even a fucking word. But like, cause it sounds like a modern Blink song, and I have my opinions on modern Blink that I'm not gonna get into because we have talked that to death. But I don't know, with Blink, I guess just because it doesn't sound genuine, like it just sounds like Mark Hoppus is just trying to get as much money as possible. It's not that good. But with MGK, like it does feel genuine, and for that, like I just like it better. If that makes any sense. Like if this was a Blink song, I probably wouldn't like it, but because it's an MGK song, I really do enjoy it. It's probably one of my lesser favorite of the singles, but I still really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's definitely a genuine song, and it's an enjoyable listen to. I mean, it's definitely not one of my personal favorites. It's not one of the songs that I constantly go back to unless I'm just kind of listening to the full album until it,
Yeah, you
and
know
I'm
what?
choosing to change it.
You made a good point when you talked about it. Safe. Safe definitely describes the song, and safe isn't always bad. You kind of he's kind of in the spot that Blink was in when they put out California, and that's why I was kind of like an apologist for a little bit until Nine came out. Was because yeah, it was a little safe, but when you make a big shift, you kind of have to start out with safe. Otherwise, you just alienate people too much. So I think
Yeah,
he was in a position where he kind of needed to drop something safe first before he put out like the real bangers.
yeah, because I mean, if he came out straight up with Title Track or World War III, you'd be like,
Yeah, I'd be
"Holy
like,
crap, what is it?"
I mean,
It's a
me
shock to the
people,
system.
yeah, people like us would fucking eat that shit up, but like, yeah, his like core fan base would be like, what the fuck is this trash?
Yeah, so you gotta do something that kind of lets you dip your toes in the water, for a lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's pop punk, but it definitely has that modern sheen to it, and it sounds like Blink 182, which is fine because like his core fan base probably does also like Blink 182. They probably don't know what the term pop punk is, and I don't say that in like a disparaging way. But just just because his core fan base is like usually more a part of the hip hop scene, so they don't typically know like the genre names of all the little subgenres and everything. So to them, it's probably just rock music, but like they know what Blink 182 is. Like they can hear that song and say, "Yo, that sounds like Blink." So I understand.
Yeah, and of course, it's always gonna sound a little bit like Blink, considering Travis Barker was writing and producing and played drums on the whole thing. So
That as well, exactly, yeah. And it definitely shows on the drums on this album because it has that like Travis Barker nuance. I mean, it makes sense because Travis Barker is the drummer on the album, but it just it has all that little like nuance that he does.
yeah, signature tone. And then anything else to say about the track, Mr. Will?
Now I think I said most of what I wanted to say about that song.
Yeah, same. So,
I always feel like after I end the podcast and we're looking back like, damn, I should have said this. Or I should have said this. But right now, as of right now, in the moment, yeah, I think I said everything I wanted to say about Bloody Valentine.
yeah, well, that's just a common thing. Times you'll make a big comeback, but you don't think of it till you're in the shower, like 10 hours later. You're like, damn, I should have said this instead.
Exactly, because I was thinking about that. There's a few episodes that were like that. I was like, damn, I should have said this. Or should have said this.
Oh, I know. Every episode, I'm like, God dang it. I effed up. My bad. I have to apologize now to everybody. Yeah, but in all seriousness, the next track is probably my second favorite on the album, Forget Me Too, featuring the pop superstar Halsey.
Yeah, and for me, I think I need a little more time. Let the new album release wear off before I can officially declare a winner. But yeah, I think my favorite off the album would either be this or Concert for Aliens. I'm kind of leaning towards this song, but again, like I said, that's why I say I just want to kind of let the new album hype die down a little bit because the album's not even a week old yet. So like I'm still kind of like in the whole like this is a new song phase where I'm just playing it and playing it and playing it. But
Aliens has been out for like over a month, so kind of
yeah, I think the single dropped in like early August, so I've been listening to that one a little bit longer, so like that's cooled down a little bit, and I can like kind of see it from a more, I guess not objective sense, because opinion is all subjectivity anyway, but I can kind of let the whole like this is something new, like and it blew my mind kind of thing wear off. Whereas I'm not quite there yet with Forgive Me Too. But even if it turns out I like Concert for Aliens better, this would still be firmly my second favorite song on the album. And I just absolutely I love the chorus. I love when it first kicks in, the little I like that. And I know you're going to disagree with me on this, but I actually really like Halsey's part in the song too. I think it's actually really cool that he got like Halsey to be on the song, because like I know she's always liked Blink a little bit, because I remember in that Chainsmokers song Closer, which by the way is probably one of my favorite pop songs to drop in the last 5 years. I'm gonna be honest right there. Like she mentions Play that Blink 182 song that we beat the death. So I know she always at least a little like Blink a little bit, but it was kind of crazy seeing like this side of her. She's going all out on this song, like full like pop punk, and I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good song. It's extremely catchy. It definitely has it's definitely one of the more, I guess, true to the form of pop punk. Like it's definitely pop punk. There's no like hip hop influence, just straight up. This is a pop punk song. You know what I mean?
Yes, I would agree with that 100%.
Chorus is catchy as anything. The lyrics are, pretty generic for the genre. Relationship stuff. I mean, it's pretty much the subject topic for most genres, but yeah, it's a good song. It's definitely probably my second favorite, I would say, so far as we're recording this podcast. It's my second favorite song, and it's a good song, catchy as all heck.
Yeah, and as someone who does enjoy pop music, and obviously, I mean, I'm doing a pop punk themed podcast, so obviously I love pop punk music. It was just cool to kind of see like Halsey on a pop punk track. So that I thought was cool. But even beyond that, like I love the chorus. I like how, yeah, like you said, like this is just straightforward, like balls to the walls, like pop punk. Like there's no catch to it. I guess that's what I'm gonna say, because that's what I was trying to get at earlier, is when people do like a major genre shift, there's always like a catch to it where it's not fully, it's not like fully, like I'm trying to think of something I'm like, I can't even think, but like I think you know what I mean. Like there's always some kind of catch where it's not full like if somebody wanted to go into pop punk, like it wouldn't be full pop punk. Like there would be pop punk vibes, but it wouldn't be like a pop punk song. But this 100% is a pop punk song, and I fucking love it, and I especially love the chorus.
I like when they both sing at the same time, because I like that stuff just with different singers. You hear the different harmonies and stuff. It brings an extra layer.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And yeah, I think. Do you have anything else to say about the song?
Oh man, I pretty much said what I needed to say about that song.
Yeah. So far that's definitely probably tied for my favorite of this. I gotta let the new album hype wear down a little bit before I make an official judgment. But as of right now, that's probably tied for my favorite song on the album. Now, moving on to number 6, All I Know, featuring Trippie Redd. This song, I don't dislike it. This one's definitely, if it's the one I'm thinking of, this one's definitely just a straight up emo rap song. Where, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, how like, with Forget Me Too, like there was no catch. It's just a straight up pop punk song. This one does kind of have a catch where it's not like full pop punk. You could definitely hear it and understand that like MGK was definitely someone that loved like pop punk and shit growing up when he wrote this song, because it's definitely it's an emo rap song, and emo rap is obviously heavily inspired by pop punk and of course emo music. But yeah, I don't really hear a whole lot of pop punk on this song other than he's just singing instead of rapping. Everything else is pretty hip hop to me.
Yeah, I mean, this song is one of the more kind of skippable tracks on the album for me. I really don't have much to say about that, but yeah, you already didn't say, so I'll just be an echo chamber.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about that one. But
I do want to say though that the people in Rancid co-wrote this song.
Really? Oh yeah, I see that. Timothy Armstrong.
Roger Freeman or Matt Freeman, Steve Mello, and Jesse Michaels.
That's kind of weird. Like they don't sound out of place on this album, but they definitely sound out of place on that song.
Well, they're boys with Travis, so it makes a lot of sense considering Travis was in that side project with the guys from Rancid back in the
oh yeah, the transplants.
Yeah, that's it. It was.
Yeah, I actually remember when Travis did his hip hop album, he did a song with the transplants on there. It was actually probably one of my lesser favorite songs on the album, believe it or not, because it was kind of like it was very alternative-y. And I'll be straight up, I'm really not a fan of alternative music all that much. But yeah, and before we move on to the next song, I just want to reiterate, I don't think there's a single song on this album that I don't like. So even if this is one of my lesser favorite songs on the album, I still enjoy it. And if I'm listening to the whole album, I probably wouldn't skip it. Even if I'm in the mood for something, like if I'm just kind of in an emo rap mood, because we talked about emo rap before, I do enjoy it. I don't listen to it as much as I listen to like actual pop punk and actual emo, but I do listen to it and I do enjoy it. So I would probably put it on when I'm in a more like emo rap type mood, like when I'm listening to Juice WRLD or something like that. So it's definitely a different type of mood for sure than the rest of the album, but I don't dislike it. But I would say just because it doesn't really fit in with the rest of the album, it would probably be one of my lesser favorites.
Yeah, pretty much what I have to say. Lonely. That's the acoustic song, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Like I think it picks up a little bit during the chorus, but it's definitely I do remember it being kind of acoustic.
Yeah, so by that standard, I'm not really a fan. I mean, I like acoustic songs. I mean, it has to be. There's only a few select, but I'm definitely not. It's definitely one of the more boring songs I would say on the album. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I definitely think it's pretty boring. I do like the lyrics. So the lyrics kind of save it from being just like a filler track for me. But I think Lonely would be another one that I don't think I would put on just to listen to. If I'm putting it on, I would have to be either in like the mood for sad songs or just listening to the whole album. I don't think I would just put it on just to put it on like I would with like Forget Me Too or even Bloody Valentine.
I mean, it's gonna be pretty unprofessional of me, but to be fair with you, I don't think I listened to that song all the way through yet.
Oh.
I can't even because it just doesn't catch my attention.
Well, you have it here, folks. We're catching fraudulent behavior.
Oh, I know. I have to get it off my chest. That's why I just said.
No, it's okay. I mean, it does pick up during the chorus, but I would definitely agree musically. It's probably one of my lesser favorite songs on the album, and I definitely would put it in the bottom tier for me. What saves it for me is really just the lyrics. I do like the lyrics, especially during the chorus. So I think that's what kind of saves it for me.
Yeah, I agree. And then
so I'm assuming you don't have any closing thoughts on this song because you didn't listen to it all the way. You fraud.
My bad. I have to apology on the behalf of the podcast.
Fellas, roast him in the comments. I'm just kidding. Don't roast him in the comments.
No, please do. I deserve every second of it. And then we're on track 9 already, and
track 8. Yeah, track 8.
Excuse me. Apologies. I just misspoke. I like to misspeak a lot.
I know. So I think our review of this song is probably going to be longer than the song itself.
Yeah, considering it's only 59 seconds, and it's definitely a top 5 song on the album for me.
Yeah, I would probably put it in my top 3, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called World War III. And it's just a short, fast, like pop punk song. But unlike Generational Divide, I know I'm comparing this album to Blink a little bit, but that's probably just the best comparison because that's another short, fast song. Unlike Generational Divide, it actually sounds good. Like it's not just the same like 3 power chords over and over with the same lyrics over and over. And perhaps the best part of it is there's only 3 songwriters, and all 3 songwriters are pretty much involved with the entire album.
Yeah.
It's MGK, Long, hold on. Yeah, Nicholas Alex Long and Travis Barker are the 3 songwriters.
Yeah, and that entire sentence right there is pretty much the length of the song. But yeah, great song. I mean, I like it. A lot of his like more kind of punkier songs, they remind me of the F-Ups. Like I got a real F ups vibe on
For
World War.
better or for worse.
Yeah, it's definitely a real gives me a real F ups vibe, but it's just fast. It's in your face. It's just
I think the vibe that World War III gave me was kind of like almost like a Sum 41 vibe. Like it kind of sounded like something they would have done on their like first two albums.
yeah when they had those random songs.
Yeah, or like maybe like Half Hour of Power even.
Yeah, because back in the day they always had those random sub minute and a half, just either punk songs, just metal songs, just instrumentals. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean,
And I also really like how World War III, it's like short and fast, but it still does sound pop punk. It doesn't like, because I think that was my big issue with Generational Divide. Actually, wasn't the 7 songwriters. It was just the fact that with Blink these days, it seems like they can either do pop or punk, never both. Well, World War III does both and does it pretty well. Better than Blink, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say in 2020. MGK is a better pop punk artist than modern Blink. Not a sentence I ever thought I would say in
it's
my
just
life.
adding
but
another layer to the
adding another layer to the weirdness that is 2020.
yeah. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that was like, I think that review of that song, unless you have anything else to say.
Say my name, man.
Yeah. So I think that little review of that song was like 3 times the length of the actual song. So, alright, so our next song, track number 9 is...
I mean, it probably was, and then
God, I'm sorry, bro, you were breaking up, so if I was talking over you, I apologize. Are we good?
we're good now. We're good now. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, everything was breaking up. I don't know if it's me or just a combination, but yeah, my connection is just getting real shot for whatever reason. But my apologies. But yeah, Kevin and Barracuda interlude.
Yeah, so track number 9, it's basically a skit. He's on the phone with, I'm assuming, Pete Davidson, because he's listed as one of the writers. And I'll have to listen to the song again, because I'm actually a huge Pete Davidson fan, so I'm kind of shocked that I like missed that was him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was Pete Davidson until I was looking up the songwriters, and I mean, I enjoy like interludes and skits, just kind of hold the whole immersion of an album, and for a whole like it adds a little, I guess, extra layer to the story of the lyrics. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
I like them when they're not attached to song. So it's like, I'm glad that wasn't attached to Concert for Aliens, because if I'm in the mood for a skit, I can put it on. But then if I'm not in the mood for a skit, I could just go right into Concert for Aliens and just listen to it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of funny because they're like on the phone talking about their like alien names, and Pete Davidson's like alien name's Kevin, and he actually made me laugh because MGK is like, why is mine so dumb? My alien name's like Barracuda. Just like the way he says it kind of has me laugh, because he says it like in like a pissed off but still kind of chill way, but kind of like funny. Like, he's not actually mad, but he's like pretending like he's pissed off or something, and it's just so funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I hear that, it just reminds me of Beavis and Butthead for whatever reason. But that's just the vibe I got when I was listening to it. Them just being idiots on the couch, just
I do love Beavis and Butthead.
So I mean, it's just an interlude, but I do enjoy how it has a little precursor to next track. You know what I mean? I like stuff like that in albums where it makes you feel more immersed. I guess.
As long as it's for me, as long as it's not a part of the song. If it's like attached to the song, then I'm kind of not a fan of it. Because, like I said, when I'm in the mood to just listen to the song, it sucks that I have to skip around to get to the song.
It's just inconvenient as all heck.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that it's not attached to the next track. And that's actually a pretty good segue for our next song, track number 10, Concert for Aliens. And I'll just say real quick, this one, like I said earlier, I need to let the new album hype die down a little bit before I can pick a favorite. But my favorite song off this album is definitely, it's a toss-up between Forget Me Too and Concert for Aliens. So that would probably actually round out my top three. It'd be Concert for Aliens, Forget Me Too, and then World War III.
Yeah, I mean, Concert for Aliens is definitely by far, not by far, but it's definitely my favorite track on the album, and it's definitely the track that made me actually pay attention to this man because that was the first
Yeah.
song I was like, "Holy crap, this is a banger!" Because it's just pure, unadulterated pop punk. There's no hip hop, there's no other genre in there. It's just straight up. If you enjoy, you know, early 2000, late 90s Blink or any pop punk in general, this is the song for you. And I'm happy it exists, but it also set me up for kind of a disappointment because I expected every song on the album to sound like that, and kind of doesn't. So, but what are you gonna do? The song's still a banger nonetheless.
Yeah, it doesn't diminish the song by any means.
Just set up my expectations super high is all.
That's true, because I've been very vocal on the podcast about this before. Like when Bloody Valentine came out, like I enjoyed it. You know, I wouldn't say I don't, and to this day I still wouldn't say that I don't like Bloody Valentine, but I liked it in the context of a non-pop punk artist trying out pop punk. Like as a pop punk song, as we said before, it was kind of safe, kind of sounded very new school Blinkish, which I get in his position. He probably had to drop a song like that first. But yeah, when he dropped Concert for Aliens, dude, like all my kind of like fears for the album got kind of squashed because yeah, Concert for Aliens is just, even if it wasn't MGK and it was just maybe, you know, one of the like 3,000 bands that shows up in my daily mix every single day, I would still probably listen to it on repeat. So just the fact that it is MGK is just like 10 times better. It blows my mind because, you know, he's not typically a pop punk artist, but this is a pop punk song. There's no catch. Like, you know, like there's always some kind of catch, right, where it's like it's not full pop punk, but it has elements, but it's not complete pop punk. Whenever a non-pop or whenever an artist tries a genre that's radically different from what they usually are known for, there's always some sort of catch. But with Concert for Aliens, there's no real catch.
Yeah, it's just straight up it's just pop punk, and I'm glad it exists because it's definitely, once I guess the new album hype dies down, it's definitely one of the few songs that will be constantly be playing down the line.
Well,
You know what I mean?
it already is that for me because, like, I mean, the single dropped in like August, and it's
Yeah,
now
so we already been
October.
banging out to it.
It's now October, and I'm still listening to it.
Yeah, so it definitely has the most staying power as of right now of any song.
And again, I gotta let new album hype die down before I make an official judgment call between that and Forget Me Too, because they're by far my two favorite songs on the album. But yeah, no, it's definitely, it's top three if it's not top one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the best song. So, but there's really nothing else I guess I could say about it because it's pretty much just the same stuff we're going over and
Yeah,
over
if
again.
I have anything in particular to say that I love about the song, it's got to be that opening riff. That opening riff is just so cool. It's so
Yeah, the
cool.
riff.
It sounds like it would be in like you know, like an early 2000s comedy, which, as we've said before, I think that style of movie and pop punk just go together hand in hand, and it also helps that that's probably like my favorite type of movie. So that you know, it's got that going for it.
Yeah,
And
the song is just great. The guitar riff is fun. The lyrics are catchy. They're just angsty. They're juvenile. They're pretty much reminiscent of that early 2000s sound that
I
a lot
mean,
of people miss. And
the
was
song's
definitely,
called the song's called "Concert for Aliens." It don't get more Tom DeLonge than that.
oh, I know. I'm just, yeah, the lyrics are, yeah, but so if you want, there's a pure classic pop punk song. You can't go wrong with Concert for Aliens, and it's definitely, in my opinion, one of the few, I guess, quote unquote, timeless song on the album, as in a song that I will be listening to a year or even a few months after the album drop, where I probably won't be revisiting it anytime soon. No offense to MGK.
I got you. That makes sense. And yeah,
Mhm.
I think we've said all we could say about Concert for Aliens. So we're gonna move on to track number 11. My Ex's Best Friend. And this one, it's probably my least favorite of the singles that he put out on the album. Um, this one's kind of the song I was talking about earlier when I said like there's always like a catch where like you know when an artist tries a genre that's radically different than what they're known for, it there's like and in MGK's case, I'm glad it's not the entire album. I'm glad it's just certain songs. But with this one, like I guess I could see where he's coming from if he would say that this song has like pop punk vibes. Boy, it's really not like a pop punk song to me, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of hip hop influence, especially in the chorus. It's definitely way more rappy and hip hoppy.
Yeah, and that's not to say it's a bad song. Again, I think there's not a single song on this album that I don't like. Boy, it's gotta be bottom tier for sure when there's like bangers like Forget Me Too and Concert for Aliens on the very same album.
Yeah, just unless it's just there's really no point of listening to that song unless you're either just a hardcore MGK fan or you just love and vibe to that sound. If you're just more of a true pop punker guy, there's really no reason to kind of go back to that song for a lack of a better term. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the song makes sense. Like, there's a reason for it to exist. Cause, as you were telling me the other day, like, Tickets to My Downfall is #1 right now. So
Yes.
I guess it makes sense because you need a few songs that's not, you know, that's a little more reminiscent of his old sound. Because yeah, you don't want to alienate your core fan base. So I guess I can see why the song exists. Even if
I can see why.
even if it's definitely more bottom tier for me, I could definitely like I understand why it's there.
Yeah, I mean the song is it's all right to me. It's what I call it's a fine song. It's definitely a song, but it's just it doesn't really do much for me personally.
Yeah, I think I agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's all I have to say with that one. If there's any closing remarks of you have, we can continue on to the
Um,
next.
no, like I know it features Black Bear, but I don't really have much of an opinion on Black Bear.
I don't even know
So
who that even is, to be honest with you, so I can't even comment.
I know who he is, but I don't really know any of his stuff. So,
Oh, well,
so yeah, so that's not really yeah. I think that's it on that one.
yeah, so next is Jawbreaker.
Yep. Next is the track number 12, Drawbreaker. Um, this one to me is kind of like a filler song. Like I don't think I would skip it if I'm listening to the entire album all the way through. But I'm definitely not going to be putting it on just to listen to like by itself.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, this is definitely one of my lesser favorites on the album. It's definitely a song that if I'm just chilling there and I have my phone next to me, I'm not gonna run over to change it if it comes on. But if I'm right next to it, I'll definitely skip it because I don't really care about it too much. I mean, I'm a bit more critical than you are, but you know, I just lyrics I don't really care for. It's boring. It doesn't really have much going on for it.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. That was definitely my big thing about that one is I definitely also thought it was kind of boring.
Like, and there was like, because a lot of songs where even if it's like boring, it could have a catchy vocal melody, it could be emotional, the lyrics can be good, but there's really nothing
That's pretty much how I felt about Lonely. Like the song itself is a
in the
little
song that,
boring, but the lyrics are I actually really do enjoy the lyrics to Lonely.
yeah, like, there's really nothing. I don't want to say it's a bad song because I guess it's well written and it's well produced and well sung, but it's just for the sake of strong structure and anything, it's just definitely forgettable. It's just I
Yeah,
don't really care for it.
it's definitely a filler song. But you know what? I think that can attest to the album that like this is in my opinion like the first filler song on the album. And it's track 12 of 15.
Yeah, it's definitely if I have to pick a least favorite, I would definitely say it's this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would agree. I actually don't know if I would agree because actually the next song, which we'll talk more about in a minute, the next song I actually legitimately don't even remember.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know, but it's definitely bottom tier for sure. Cause at least the songs that are more like hip hoppy, Like they at least they still stand out just by being more hip hop influenced than pop punk influenced, whereas Jawbreaker is just kind of like it's just kind of there.
Exist.
I
It's
don't
a
really,
song.
yeah, I don't really have anything to say really good or bad about it, which kind of actually something you don't want for a song.
Yeah, the worst thing I feel for an artist is when your song just exists, because like, at least when it's like bad, people remember how the song goes and they can enjoy it like unironically, like
Like-
50% of Fight First California Kicks.
or the entire post grunge genre.
Yeah, where it's
That
just fun, but here it's just like
where it's
boring.
like, yeah, it's like it's not good music, but I could definitely get a kick out of listening to like Lips of an Angel.
Yeah, like, but Joel, yeah, like it's just whatever, it's just there's nothing else to say, which
Yeah.
is
I think we kind of exhausted all we had to say about Jawbreaker.
yeah, you can only really explain how something doesn't really make you feel a certain way in so many words. So
Yeah.
let's just go with Nothing Inside, I guess.
Yeah, track 13, Nothing Inside, featuring, I might say his name wrong, Ian Dior. And if I said that wrong, if you're listening, I apologize. But yeah, so this one, honestly, this is the only song on the album I can honestly say that I really don't remember.
And ironically, you say that because definitely an honorable mention for my top 3 or top 5, because it reminds me a lot of like, gives me like a boxcar, like a slower, more mellow boxcar racer vibe, and a little bit of Untitled Blink vibe to it. So I like it in that regards because it does give me that nostalgia factor,
Mm-hmm.
and it is catchy. I mean, it's a bit more on the slower side, but it just gives me that boxcar racer vibe where Jawbreaker does not.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to listen to it again because I honestly I can't remember it right now.
I mean,
I guess I'll chalk that up to I haven't actually listened to the album start to finish in a little bit. Well, yeah, I can remember all the other songs, but I just can't remember this one for some reason.
yeah, I know that feeling. Hey, life be like that sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I think it's a generally a catchy chorus. If you like Boxcar Racer or like a plus 44 or more darker but cooler, I guess, Blinky before Skiba, it's a song I think you should check out for sure.
Yeah, and I will probably be checking it out as soon as we end this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a top 3, but definitely a song I will listen to though, for sure. And that's all I have to say for Mr. Nothing Inside.
Actually, before we move on to the next one, because you said it's not a top 3, but you did also call it an honorable mention. So if we extended your top 3 into a top 5, would it make the top 5?
Well, my top 3 is title track, Forget Me Too, and Concert for Aliens, and my top 5 would probably be Bloody Valentine, and then it'll be a switch between Nothing Inside and Drunk Face. So it's definitely 5.5, I would say.
Okay.
My list.
All right, that makes sense.
I guess it depends how I feel that day. You know what I mean? I'm a human being. You know what I mean?
A real human being.
Exactly. So, hey, that's all I got to say to that one.
Alright, yeah, that's moving on to track number 14, Banyan Tree? I actually don't know how to say that word.
I would say Banyan. It's just from what I say.
And this one's another interlude. It was apparently written by him, Megan Fox, and Travis Barker. So I guess it actually makes sense that Megan Fox is probably the girl in the interlude.
Yeah, and that's his actual real life girlfriend.
Yeah, and she's in the Bloody Valentine music video.
First of all, I just think it's funny because I'm just imagining like them kind of having like a romantic dialogue, and Travis Barker's like, "No, this is romantic, not this crap." He's like making them forcing her to say something. I'm just picturing him. It's hard to explain because
Well, it does kind of they're going for a more serious vibe on this interlude rather than the other one was kind of more funny.
Well, it makes sense with Pete Davidson. He's a comedian.
Well, yeah, I love Pete Davidson, but this one's a little more serious. But it does kind of make me laugh at the end because he's saying some deep shit. I can't remember what he's saying, but he's saying something about if the world ended right now, I just want to feel like I really lived. And then Megan Fox just goes, same. I don't know, just like the way she says it makes me fucking laugh. She's like all like he's pouring his heart out, and she's just like, yeah, same.
Yeah, like it's
Like
just
I know it's not meant to be funny, but it makes me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like the interlude. I enjoy interludes because it gives you a backdrop to a general theme or a story in the song or album when you typically not be too attentive to a theme or stuff. But it's just an interlude. It's really hard to judge an interlude as good or bad, but it's good that it's rated from a song. So if you want to skip it, you can.
Yeah, that is exactly what I said about Kevin and Barracuda. I'm happy that it's not a part of Concert for Aliens. Any time that there's an interlude or like a skit or something on an album, I'm always happy when it's not a part of the song.
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much, I mean, that's all my thoughts on it. I do enjoy it, and it's just for good background and backdrop.
Yeah, I do like the little music part when it kicks into like the music.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like that little touch to it because it does make you feel like it is an actual song that does serve like an actual purpose to the overall theme of the album.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest with you, I just assumed that was the final track on the album.
Apparently, Clive wants to weigh in on this song.
I know. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I pointed it out because I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to like hide my laptop because his barking is getting louder and louder, but that's a different story though.
It's okay. But yeah, so that's I guess that's all we really need to say about that one. I mean, it is an interlude. It's not an actual song.
Yeah, but it's definitely I guess for the sake of an interlude, I think it's a pretty good interlude.
Yeah, I definitely, of the two, I prefer the other one just because the other one's like more funny, and it does feature Pete Davidson, who I am a fan of Pete Davidson. Big Time Adolescence, or whatever the fuck the movie's called, I thought was a really good movie, and I also enjoyed him, who was also in the Motley Crue movie. And actually, a fun fact, because like Pete Davidson and MGK are boys, so like MGK's in a lot of Pete Davidson movies.
Really, I didn't know that.
He's essentially Pete Davidson's like David Spade.
Nice.
If Pete Davidson was Adam Sandler, MGK would be like his Rob Schneider.
A fun fact, actually, they first met during that Motley Crue movie.
Yeah, okay, because that one, like that's definitely more of like an MGK movie because he's Tommy Lee, and then Pete Davidson's just like their record exec guy.
Nice.
So that actually makes sense. But then, yeah, ever since then, they just became boys, and he's been in, like, a ton of Pete Davidson's movies. I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there. That has nothing to do with the album, but I just wanted to throw it in there. So I'm definitely, I'm a little more biased towards the other one, because I like funny stuff. But this is still a good interlude. I like how this one actually does have some kind of, like, music in it, whereas the other one's just, like, really more of a skit. This one's more of an like this one's more of like what I would think of when I hear interlude. And yeah, and then I guess that leads into the final track on the album, unless you have one of the deluxe editions. Track number 15, Play This When I'm Gone. For this one, it's alright. It's really slow and kind of like moody, which it's not the best song on the album, but like I get what they're going for. They're trying to go for more of like a vibe than trying to make like an actual full on banger. And it works. It works for what it is. I enjoy it. It's definitely another song I don't think I would listen to unless I was listening to the whole album. But if I am listening to the whole album and the song comes on, like I'll still listen to it and kind of like vibe out.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I realized that this song even existed till like 30 minutes ago, which is embarrassing because I'm doing an album review, so very unprofessional of me. But I mean, from what you're explaining, I do like when an album does feel cohesive for the sake of like from front to back, because it does feel like it's a general
piece of work or art that's bigger than just a collection of songs. So I do enjoy when an album does that for like a sake of what's it called again? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's called the albums.
Concept album.
Yeah, like I like when albums do that because it does make you feel like it's part of a bigger picture, even if the song is like not as good as its own. But I do, but when it's together with a bunch of other collection of songs, it shines a bit more, which I do enjoy, which probably saves, in my opinion, a lot of the songs on here for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's how I feel about that song from just describing it, I guess. I don't freaking know.
Yeah, I mean, it is, in my opinion, it's definitely kind of boring, but I don't know. Like, I get what he's going for, and I overall enjoy it, even if there's some things about the song that I kind of don't really care about.
That is.
Like, just the overall slowness, and, like, it is kind of boring. But he's not trying to make, like, a banger on the same level as Concert for Aliens here. He's just trying to, I guess, close out the album with something kind of, like, more feelsy.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, unless you have anything else you need to say, that's pretty much all I need to say about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can talk about our overall grade and overall feelings about the album before we wrap things up.
Yeah, before we do that, I want to at least acknowledge the deluxe edition bonus tracks. I haven't heard, like, any of these except for his cover of Misery Business, because that one is on Spotify. I mean, it's good. It's pretty much just the original song, just with him singing instead of Haley Williams.
Yeah, I mean, it's generally the same song, yeah.
But, I mean, I'm also not really a huge Paramore fan, so just his voice instead of Haley Williams' voice is kind of a plus for me.
Yeah, well, so I guess that is a positive.
But no, that's a little fun fact about me. I'm not really crazy about Paramore. I do like their song Pressure, but overall, I'm not really crazy about them.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, I'm not really a Paramore fan. I mean, it's not a Paramore podcast, but it's definitely one of the few groups where it's just like, I'm not really. Seems like everybody loves them, but me, I don't care about Haley Williams. I don't care about Paramore. I just mostly dislike Haley Williams because every time there's like there's a female singer that's needed for like a pop punk or easy core or melodic hardcore or emo, Haley Williams is the de facto chick singer they get for the track, and it's just she's overplayed.
I feel that.
Played out, man. She's played out.
But yeah. So I enjoy his cover of Misery Business. It's definitely not something I put on like all the time, just because, like I said, I'm not a big Paramore fan. But it is good. And the other ones I haven't heard, but I'm gonna have to try and listen to them. I don't know, maybe they're on YouTube. Haven't heard it because if they're not on Spotify, I mainly listen to my music on Spotify. So if it's not on Spotify, I'll still try and listen to it if I think I'm gonna like the song. But I'm definitely not. I'm more keen to listen to it if it's on Spotify. So I haven't heard any of these songs. The Sold Out Deluxe Edition with Body Bag, Hangover Cure, Split a Pill, Can't Look Back, Misery Business, Bloody Valentine Acoustic, or the Target Edition bonus tracks, which has also Misery Business, Roll the Windows Up, In These Walls, My House, with Paris, but instead of an A, it's a V, and Love on the Brain, which is a Rihanna cover. And I do enjoy some Rihanna songs. So I like that. I enjoy the song We Found Love.
Yeah, I mean, she's whatever, I guess. She exists to me.
Well, I do enjoy the song We Found Love.
Oh, yes. So, I mean, I guess that's something to check out, his cover of that.
Yeah. So I will have to check those out. But I just wanted to acknowledge them real quick, like they exist. So yeah, so overall, the album, if I had to grade it, I like grading on like a out of 10 basis. Probably give it about like a 7.5. Like there's definitely a few songs on the album I'm not too crazy about that kind of drag it down a little bit, but overall, the good songs are really fucking good. And just in general, I enjoy what he's trying to do for the genre.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I give him a little bit of a slight handicap because of that.
Yeah, although some of the songs definitely don't need a handicap, like "Forget Me Too," I fucking love.
Mhm.
Concert for Aliens, banger.
Yeah, so I guess
World War Three, awesome, and it sounds like it doesn't sound forced. It sounds like a old school Sum 41 type deal.
yeah, it sounds like the F ups to me. But
Not
yeah, I
World
guess
War Three, not to me, because I don't
well,
like the F ups, but I like World War Three.
I'm just saying, man, that's just what it sounds like to me, Killer. That's just what it sounds like to me. But I guess my overall review on the album from a collective standpoint, this album's weird to me because there's only a handful of songs where I actually like to listen to, like, stand out. For whatever reason, when I listen from front to back, it's more enjoyable, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I guess the whole theme and vibe of it, I guess it flows well. But there's only a handful of songs like Concert for Aliens, Forget Me Too, maybe Title Track, where I'll actually sit down and listen to it and I'll be like, this is good stuff. But I give it maybe like a 6.5 out of 10 or like a C plus, B minus as a whole. Like if this was just a random pop punk band and not MGK, I'd probably be like, this is a whatever album. But since it's MGK and it got to number one on the charts, and hopefully people want to start listening and playing pop punk music again and revise the scene in a mainstream sense, that's great and fantastic. So that's my general thoughts and feelings on it.
Yeah, and I would like to think, if Juice WRLD was still alive, may he rest in peace. I'd like to think his next album would kind of go in a similar direction, because like he already kind of had stuff like that with like Man of the Year, and like even his like more hip hoppy songs still just kind of had that vibe to it. That I would definitely think he would probably, like, after saying like MGK's album hit number one, if he were still alive, I think Juice WRLD's next album will probably have more songs. At the very least, it'll have more songs like Man of the Year on it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shame that he passed. So
It
it's all
is a
critical
very,
what at this point.
very much shame. May he rest in peace. Because he was one of my favorite like emo rap artists.
Yeah. So MGK, I hope that this is a stepping stone and not just a one-off thing, because this is his first number one album ever. So this is definitely by far his most successful album. So hopefully this album is a stepping stone and he improves in the formula and just keeps writing more pop punk bangers going forward. Because for, I guess, a debut pop punk album, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely things I think could be a little better. But those things that I think could be better, I think would be better if he made another pop punk album. 'Cause I think the main issue with me is just, yeah, some of the songs definitely don't really sound like pop punk, and some of the songs just kind of sound boring. But it's like we were talking about when we talked about Blink. Sometimes you got to start out with a kind of safe album to kind of ease people into it before you start doing the full blown, like genre shift in his case.
yeah, so I mean, I guess for the overall big picture, just outside of music, it's a great success. I enjoyed it, but as an actual just pop punk album, it's slightly above average for me. Like there's definitely songs I will keep in my repertoire moving forward, but a lot of it is more just I listen to it, and I guess I'm back to what sticks with me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to really judge. It's hard to objectively review like art just because it's all opinion. You know what I mean? What I say could be everybody else that could think it's amazing, or what people think is amazing, I could think stink, or vice versa. So that's life sometimes.
Well, you know how you turn a subjective opinion into an objective fact? You just say, my opinion is, and then you go for your opinion, because then that is a fact. That is your opinion.
Yes, I guess you want to jump through those loopholes. Yes, but is there anything else you want to talk about the album?
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think, I hope that it's a like a turning point for the genre. I've said before many nostalgia comes in waves of 20, and And I didn't think it was going to happen this fast. I thought it was going to take another 2-3 years. And it still might. This could just be like, like the prototype for the revival. But, yeah, I definitely, it lines up with what I was saying before. Nostalgia comes in 20s. Especially someone as big as MGK putting out a pop punk album that's just a really good thing for the genre. And yeah, I could definitely see a lot of. I mean, first of all, I could definitely see a few of the more like emo rappers that are on the emo side more than the rap side. I could see them going full blown pop punk after MGK did it, and then I could also probably see some new pop punk bands coming in the near future, because like people like MGK, like a lot of like teenagers like MGK, and teenagers are gonna be the people that are making music in like 5-10 years. Like, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if we like it or not, because like regardless, we're already in Knockout Kings, we're already gonna be making music regardless. But 5-10 years, you have teenagers that like normally listen to like, I guess like hip hop or just, stuff like that. They listen to MGK put out a pop punk. I'm like, yo, this shit's kind of cool. I'm gonna make something that sounds like this, and then they do, and then in the music scene, 5-10 years could be a little more pop punk than it's been.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I hope is that, I guess, if the genre gets big, I just hope it's not a nostalgic revival. I hope it's legit, sustainable, and people legitimately like it and not just forget about it after 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Beggars can't be choosers, really.
yeah, beggars can't be choosers. I think I kind of say it getting on the same level as like the 80s hair metal revival, where like, yeah, it wasn't big and he didn't really have any new hair metal bands coming out like selling out stadiums and shit, but you had Steel Panther, who did pretty alright. And like a lot of the old school bands came out and put out new like hair metal albums that all sold relatively well. Like I remember Motley Crue's like Saints of Los Angeles album that sold pretty well, I think. I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure it sold pretty well.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see that being similar with pop punk, where there's not going to be a new Blink-182. There's not probably even going to be a new Sum 41, but there might be a few bands that come out that make like semi-decent waves, and I could probably see a few of the old school bands coming out with new like pop punk albums that make some waves and shit. I would even be down for like a pop punk version of like Steel Panther, where it's just like fucking goofy like joke songs, but like with actually good pop punk music behind it. Like they like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because like Steel Panther, like the songs themselves are serious, but then the lyrics are just about like jerking off or whatever.
Yeah, again, good for them. They made money.
Like my favorite Steel Panther song is a song called Tomorrow Night, and the plot summary of the lyrics are, he's going to a party tomorrow night, so tonight he's just gonna jerk off and play video games.
Oh, very nice. Well, it's very relatable.
Yes, it is. So, like, I could maybe see that kind of happening with pop punk. I mean, they already kind of have something like that with, like, Sunrise Skater Kids. But, like, I don't know, like, Jared Alonge, he just spreads himself all over, like, scene culture. Like, he's got, pop punk. He does that emo thing with Canadian Softball. He does the metalcore thing with Amidst the Graves Demons. So I don't know. So I feel like Sunrise Skater Kids isn't going to be on that Steel Panther level because he's not like dedicated to it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, he's more viral.
Yeah. But I don't know. I could see that's honestly where I think I see pop punk going in the next like 5 to 10 years. On the other hand though, it probably could be bigger because I don't think any hair metal in the 2000s had a #1 album. Whereas pop punk does have a #1 album with Tickets to My Downfall, so it could be a little bit bigger. I'd hope it'd be a little bit bigger, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, hopefully we see what happens, my main man.
Yeah. So If anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I think that is generally it. I mean, I hope that in a greater sense, I'll enjoy this album for what it represents more than the actual music itself. But there are some really great songs on this album. So B plus, B minus, C plus, 6.5 out of 10. That's what I give it. Check it out if you haven't already. If you did, let us know what you think. And hopefully this is just a stepping stone to bigger and better things for him in the genre.
I agree, and yeah, I think I'd give it a little more of a generous score. 7.5 is I think what I would give it. But yeah, I pretty much I echo the same thoughts. It's good. I like it for what it represents. Even if there are a few songs on the album that I think could be a little bit better. And yeah, if you like pop punk, there's gonna be at least 1 or 2 songs on this album you will like, even if you don't like the whole album. And if you're an MGK fan, there's still enough hip hop on the album to keep you like into it.
Yeah, satisfied.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's gonna do it for today. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Everybody that hung out on the stream on Thursday. I know we had some internet issues, so you actually didn't get to see this part because we just recorded this part and we're gonna be putting this on YouTube. But everybody that hung out in the stream, thank you. I know I don't reply to the chat out loud on stream, but I try to reply like in the actual chat, like to talk to you guys while we talk. And I do see your chats and I do appreciate you guys. And to everybody that watches on YouTube, you guys are fucking awesome just the same. And yeah, and we'll catch you guys later every Thursday at 3:30 on Twitch and every Tuesday at noon on YouTube. Peace.
See ya. Can we go get Clyde real quick? He's about to start packing.